If you're charged with a felony in Michigan, the first thing to do is call a timeout. Call a timeout, speak to an attorney, be clear about what you're charged with, what you potentially could be charged with, and some of the facts. It's very common for a client to reach out to me and say, okay, I'm charged with a felony. And then the information they provide is the information that's the best case for them, kind of leaving out some of the bad details, the version of the case that they want to be true. And what I mean by that is that the first instinct when you're charged with something as serious as a felony is to go into a motive where you want to protect yourself, where you want to provide the information that is most helpful, and thinking, well, if I tell my attorney all the really good things, then the case is going to play out favorably because we're just focusing on the really good things. What I can tell you is that someone like myself, who was a prosecutor who prosecuted felonies, that the story that you tell and the story that's going to be in the police reports and that officers and potential witnesses would testify to, it's going to be a lot different than the version that you may tell your attorney. So the first thing I tell clients is that, okay, that's your version of the case, but if you were to sit back and say, well, what is the other side's version of the case? Can you tell me what that would be? And it doesn't mean that it's true. It's somewhere in the middle, maybe the truth, but it's important that I understand both the best case scenario and the worst case scenario, because when you charge with a felony, things are going to move really quickly, and providing information to your attorney, the good and the bad, is to your benefit, because an attorney needs to both protect you, guide you, and to give you what I call a competitive advantage. Depending upon what you're charged with, the police department may want to talk to you more. The police department may be investigating more details about the case. The police and the prosecutor for a felony are very active. It's a lot different than being charged with a misdemeanor. A lot of times people are charged with misdemeanors and it's not necessarily a priority, meaning that there may be a period of time, weeks, months, where you're not charged yet, or you don't go to court, or something will come in the mail. It's not a priority like a felony. A felony moves very fast. And if you're not engaged to begin with, you may be missing out on really important and really beneficial things that you could do early in the case. So if you're watching this video and you or someone in your life is charged with a felony, the first thing I ask is just tell me the good, tell me the bad. Let's get all the information and come up with a plan. And despite being charged with a felony, and that's a serious thing, but you're also a human, you're also a person. You came to this case and this happened for a reason. Let's figure that out. Let's lead with empathy. Let's gain some compassion for you as a human, as someone who's charged with such a serious offense. How can we sort this out for your life? How can we sort this out and reach your goals? The way we do that is to adopt a growth mindset. Growth mindset means that we're taking this negative situation and we're not being angry about it. We're not being defensive about it. We're saying, here's what happened. Let's figure out why this happened. How can we take this and move forward into the future and work in the present to make this a positive thing for you, to work out a great result that doesn't have long-term consequences that are going to impact your life. And you only get one life, right? And being charged with a felony could turn that upside down, but that doesn't need to happen. I've had hundreds of cases where clients start with a felony and the end result is not a felony record, where you're facing prison time, jail time, but you don't end up there. It's adopting that growth mindset that allows you to take the situation and make it something good. That means being proactive. That means saying, you know what, this happened, I'm ready to work hard. I'm ready to understand how I ended up here. I'm ready to tell my true story. What's in that police report, that's a first impression for a judge, for a prosecutor, for the police, for the probation department. We don't want that story in the four corners of the reports to be what guides your case. What we want to guide your case is a true impression, telling your story. We can't ignore what happened, but we don't want to focus on it. We can't change that. But what we do control is what's in the present and what's in the future. So if you're charged with a felony or someone in your life is charged with a felony, what is your competitive advantage? How do we set goals? How do we achieve those? Let's figure this out together.